Welcome to the Orion Sportscast Podcast, the most refreshing analysis, insight, and opinions in the world of sports. Here are your hosts, Josh Egan and Brandon Waterhouse.
Wow, welcome back, everyone. So this is episode in the making. A little bit of a shortened roster, but it's still ideal for me. These are my hometown friends. Guys, let me introduce the guy wearing the Kobe shirt first. What's your name?
I'm Ryan. I've known Brandon for a bit. Came on to support the podcast. Got some juicy NBA predictions.
Great answer. And my good longtime buddy wearing the Miller highlight. What's your name?
I'm Derek here. I'm just here to put in some info, I like the NBA. I like basketball as a sport. I may have some unorthodox opinions, but
let me say two good ballers respectively, home court wise, and we play pickup. Holmes can shoot. Meisner knows how to. He's got handles in his bag, let me tell you.
Right.
But so obviously you're probably wondering if predictions are predictions supposed to be let out before the season, but it's been hard for us, and especially in Ontario. We're in a lockdown, so you got to take it easy on us for having to delay the meeting. But it helps right now because you've seen some injuries, you've seen some surprisingly poor starts as well. So I think if you guys had a rough draft of your 2 week ago predictions to now, I bet they look pretty different because I know mine do. And I think it benefits that we're talking now, just a couple games in instead of before the season, because that's always something that happens. Injuries, and this year COVID stuff, and coaching firings, all that stuff. But Josh has a layout for us, and I don't want him to tell him why and I want you to tell us why you're not talking today as much as we are.
The NBA's your thing. I'll probably do a roundtable for NHL or anything else, but we'll let you take this one away. My NBA ones, I would just Google best NBA teams, and that's what I would come up with. So, but no, before we start, I just want to hear everybody's 30-second overall view on what the season's been like so far.
Okay, I'll start off. It's a good 30 seconds. I say 30 seconds for all of us is going to incorporate something to do with how our Raptors have started pretty poorly for the first time since early 2000s, 2002, 2004 is one of the slowest starts. And I know we're looking for who's the biggest next trade to come. Is Harden going to be that? And surprisingly, I'm happy to see Devin Booker doing really well with the Suns. And Chris Paul rather. But what about you, Meisner?
Honestly, it's kind of a fucked up season even to start because of the 1 month post-free agency and the season started up. So at the beginning, the basketball was kind of shitty. Teams had no systems. It was just kind of messy. You saw teams getting beat 140 to 80 and shit like that. Whatever the Clippers score was.
Yes.
I don't know. Also, the Raptors they're staying like that. They seem to not have really any systems. They seem to just be caught off guard that the season came up and all that. So they'll have to fill their roles as they come. But I don't know. It's been a weird one thus far. I like the scoring though. Scoring's fucking ripping.
Holmes, what about you?
Yeah, definitely the Raptors. Who saw that coming? 1-6 right now.
Yeah.
1-6.
I didn't think the Warriors would be doing as well as they are right now either, too.
That's good.
Also, not having fans, that kills the mood for a lot of games. We didn't have fans in the bubble, but I don't know. The bubble is still the bubble with the virtual fans, but
yeah,
it's a different vibe.
Even the Raptors don't even have. They have they're playing away games every single game. The fans they're going to get are probably not Raps fans. Or probably American team fans.
No, we can talk about that because before you guys came on, we killed some time bringing up some news, and we mentioned how if you're watching the Raptors games live these days, however you are, streams live, you hear that automated drowning out noise they try to do with the technology. But you still hear talk, go. You outside fans. You want
exactly.
to do well. What do you guys have you guys been paying attention to that?
Honestly, it's gonna play a part. How some teams are gonna eventually be able to get fans, some teams aren't gonna get fans. Basketball is a sport where home court advantage is a pretty big thing. It's definitely a fucking momentum sport, and fans bring that. And if they don't have that ability to host fans, or the Raptors, not even have any fans. Opposing fans, some would say.
Exactly. So what's the point for trying to get that number 1 seed now? You're just trying to make the playoffs at this point. I mean,
yeah. And I was mentioning to Josh, being in Tampa, what's happening is it's a cheap rate for ticket, right? So American basketball fans can go across states, can go down from Orlando, the Magic and the Heat, and I even say the Charlotte Carolinas and the Georgias. they're coming down to watch these Raptors games because they want to see their other teams. And then all of a sudden, the Raptors players are hearing it, even though they're wearing their home jerseys, they have the branding, but they're hearing it from these random people who, paid extra money to come see these like half-size crowd games, right? Yeah. You see how they are. But at the same time, it's not Raptors fans. We can't come across the border, and most of us aren't really living down there right now. So it's kind of hard. Even with, like I said, the automated noise doesn't do shit. We can tell when we're watching. We can tell that was the fake stuff. I know that was the cheering from the Raptors.
Somebody hitting the button. Somebody's
technology
noises.
Ryan, say that.
You got to think too. Like the bubble was one thing, but now everyone's playing in their home arena, so everyone gets to go sleep in their own bed at night. The Raptors are still playing out of, I don't know what their living situation is, but it's certainly not their home, right? Like everyone else is back home, and the Raptors are in a whole new city.
It's a makeshift home for them still.
Yeah.
Let's not spoil everything we're about to say. Before we get started, I want to mention a huge shout out to a podcast that I literally will watch religiously. It's called All the Smoke. It's kind of where I got the idea from. Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. To say the name itself, they're guys, they're heavy on the cannabis themselves, and they like to, but the good thing is they got guests like Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, and stars. They have a great podcast, and this was kind of, this was what's the word? Inspired by them, and I want to shout out them because they're definitely people that inspire me, and I watch their shit every day. They know they don't watch mine, but Josh, tell us what we're gonna do.
Where do we start? Let's go with the seeding. So top 8 teams make the playoffs. There will be a play-in game, but we're not going to worry about that too much. So let's just start. We'll start with the West, I guess, because we're out East, so we're good with that.
Before we start, let's go Meisner, Holmes, myself. Okay, every time. So we're going to go 8
to
and
1,
then 7, and then 6 each time. We'll go our own selves. Okay. Josh, sorry. I think probably you're going to say that. My bad.
Yeah, pretty much. Whatever. So we'll just start with the West. Who's your 8th seed and why?
So I got right now number 8. I got the Warriors sitting there, just because I think Steph Curry's going to continue to do Steph Curry. He's going to put up points. He's going to carry a team as well as he can. But they're going to have to dig deep in their conference to bring in this 8th spot. But I got them sitting at 8.
I also got the Warriors at 8. I was debating between Pelicans and Rockets, but I don't know. I think the X factor is James Wiseman. Like if he can play like a number 2 pick, I don't know. It could also be the Pelicans, but I'll stick with the Warriors.
James Wiseman is looking good too.
Mm-hmm. I have interesting thoughts on the Warriors. At my 8th spot, I actually have the Portland Trailblazers. This is a spot where the Trailblazers kind of end themselves up in frequently in the last 2 years. It's not that it's their. I think they have potential to obviously do great things. Not that they need the playoff spot to get into that great potential. Like they said, they beat the Lakers 1 game in the playoffs last year. But I think that this is where their competitive range falls in, and they will get into the playoffs. Maybe it's in the play-in, but I don't want to underestimate the fact that they will have a secure spot either.
Yeah, they have solid ass players too. Like Dame Lillard is gonna go Dame time,
Yeah, no way.
And Melo's not, and he's not missing from outside. And Nurkic healthy, he's not. He's like top 5 West Conference for sure.
3J's fucking gross. It's not a bad team.
All right, let's hear those 7 picks.
At 7, I got the Pelicans. Honestly, I'm a fan of them personally. I think they have an exciting young core. Brandon Ingram's pretty gross. Zion's just Zion. See what he gets to do as he continues to fill his role as like a superstar. It's big expectations, big shoes to fill, but they're going to be exciting. I kind of put them there because they A, deserve it, and B, I like them. I want to see them go on a little bit of a run.
I got the Phoenix Suns at 7. They're sitting on top of the West right now, 6-2, but I don't know. I don't buy into that yet. I do think they definitely are a playoff team with Chris Paul and Monty Williams being their coach. But yeah, I got them at my 7.
At 7, I have the Pelicans as well with Meisner. I think that they are like one of those defined playoff teams. It's not that, they have that experience right now, but I think with the addition of Steven Adams and it's more like everyone says, oh, it's a breakout year for Ingram now, breakout Ingram here. I think it's just going to be a breakout season. We've seen steadily shooting form from Ball, Lonzo himself, and I think he's going to be a huge asset to like just late fourth quarter threes that he's not been religious for making. Like I said, sorry, I see them making it. I think that they have, like I said, something. They have the youth, they have the speed, and they have that strength with Zion and Steven Adams. So I think that when I get into that late playoff spot right now, I mean, yeah, sure, it's the 7th, but I think they're still beating teams like the Raptors, and they're beating good teams pretty handily. I like to say the Raptors are a good team, but I think they have them at 7.
Number 6.
This is where I have the Suns, and I'm putting him here because if Chris Paul, if he plays like he did with the Thunder and he fits into his role, gels in there nice, they're going to be a sick team. Devin Booker can drop 40 on any team any given night, really. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they shape out. They got a good playoff chance.
Yes.
I got the Mavericks at 6. I don't think they're a playoff team right now, but KP's coming back end of January, start of February. He's a good player. People forget about him. Luke is obviously going to have a MVP season, quite possibly. Dallas at 6.
Yes. I have Dallas at 6. Yeah, I have Dallas at 6 as well. I want to go right off of that. What Ryan said is we have Kristaps. He's coming back. I don't know if people forget about him, but I just think that something that's underrated about him is this guy's pulled up from the logo before just for fun. And then you look at the fact that he can dunk on his tippy toes and he's an all-star. So, right, like they won last night in overtime against a team I have higher than them, but that's not the point because I think that they will fall into the playoffs, maybe not high right now, but Luka will take him into a guaranteed late 6 to 8 spot. Yeah, 6.
Number 5.
Number 5, I got Jazz. They just had continuous playoff streak throughout the year. They're a pretty solid team. They got Rudy as a defensive legend, and they should have a decent season, falling in the middle of the pack there.
I got Portland at 5. It's a team that's stuck together for like multiple years now. So they got multiple players that can play. Melo's still decent, but yeah, I just think with how many years they've all been together, their chemistry can put them at 5.
Yeah, I'm with Meiser on this one. I have the Jazz. I think that they might do better than this, but I think their range is in the regular season, and it's not that I think that they can't do something great in the postseason, but in terms of always locking up that 4th to 5 spot throughout the regular season, you see the Utah Jazz there, and I think like Spida, Mitchell's he's not gonna forget. People aren't gonna try to forget who he is, especially because he's always kind of. Last year he was compared to Jamal Murray, and they kind of lost in the playoffs to them, and so you kind of thought that maybe that would say something for the regular season. Regardless, I don't think that they move from this spot. Like Manager said, they're always in.
Number 4.
This is where I have the Trailblazers. I think, as Ryan said, they have a team that's been together for a while. I honestly really like CJ. I think CJ is getting more and more confident, and he has shown that he's like a scoring weapon. Dame Lillard's sick. They got a pretty good core. Hassan Whiteside's kind of like a knockoff Rudy Gobert. You can play some good defense here and there,
That's a good take. I love that.
4, I got Utah. Honestly, they're a good team. I think Rudy Gobert is going to play with a chip on his shoulder all year because of that little beef with Shaq.
Well, he's got beef with the whole world.
Yeah, he is.
The microphone. I think he wants to show people something else.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, people forget Utah was a shot away from beating the Nuggets last year in the first round. But yeah, they did slip up that 3-1 lead, and the Nuggets did move on. But yeah, Utah number 4.
Yeah, so it's funny we put that. These teams always get kind of mixed up especially in the playoffs and regular season. It's a great matchup with the 2 point guards. So this is where I have the Nuggets and the Murray guy, Jamal Murray. This is where I have Murray and Jokic. I think they usually do fall behind the Jazz in the regular season in the past, but I just think this year they've come off such a high note. I think confidence is at an all-time high, and everyone's been talking about, Jokic has been the only all-star on the team, but I think that Murray's trending to be, they'll have 2, right? Okay. So it's not that. I mean, if I was to choose Gobert over Jokic, I mean, sure, Gobert is active and mobile on defense where Jokic barely moves, but Jokic is a reliable scorer. And if you have steady defense around him, he can shuffle into pick and rolls okay. With his height, he still grabs rebounds. And when you give the ball to Murray, he's just so inspirational, man. So that's why I have them. That's Utah and Denver is a great rivalry for me. In my matchup, they're always close in the standings.
All right, number 3.
This is where I have the Nuggets. I think that if Jamal Murray continues to bring it, he is just he's a weapon. He's just going to continue to bring it. You got Jokic, who's just a mind. He's just a genius out there. But their defense is definitely subpar. If you look at like the other high playoff contenders, like their offensive rating would be out the roof, but defense is probably going to be lacking a little bit there. But I don't know if that will come into play with their offensive ability and just their team, Jamal Murray carrying it.
Yeah, I also got Denver at my 3 seed. They lost a huge player in Jeremy Grant to the Pistons in the offseason, but
Yes.
hopefully that's a spot that Michael Porter Jr. can fill because he's playing this whole year healthy now. Yeah, Nuggets are solid. They beat the Clippers, so
Yeah.
Nuggets 3.
So this is where I have the Phoenix Suns, actually. So I have the
Denver.
Phoenix Suns. It's not that I don't think it's that the duration of what they have going on right now, 6-2 in the first place seed. I just think that when Chris Paul's in the lineup, they're going to win usually 80 to 90% of the time. And when he's going to be out of the lineup taking probably an old man break, you have Devin Booker who wants to take over the world right now.
Yeah.
And then I just think that in itself, not only are they being coached by an inspirational man in Monty Williams himself, they're being player coached by Chris Paul, right? The Hall of Famer in himself. And he's also gets to go out there and play. I think that's a huge advantage to anyone. I want to say that they usually will do better than the Clippers. The Clippers are so they're so fluctuated. I'm forgetting the word right now. They're not very reliable. But I do have
Inconsistent.
of them right now. Inconsistency. I just think that the Phoenix Suns will surprise people in their seeding.
It's a good
Number
take.
2.
Number 2, this is where I have the Clippers. They'll probably just stay strong throughout the season if Kawhi stays and guaranteed all health goes well. They have a pretty strong core. They are the second LA team. You know, they have a little chip on their shoulder. But I do think like throughout the season, they're probably going to be mixing things straight up, like you said, like kind of inconsistent, try to figure out what works. But hopefully Tyronn Lue like solidifies that in at the end by the playoff time and allows them a high seed.
Yeah, I got the Clippers at my 2 seed as well. It's a tough loss losing Montrezl Harrell, 6th man of the year, but replacing him with Serge Ibaka is perfect for me. Serge can stretch the floor, which Harrell can't. And Paul George is going to play with a chip on his shoulder all year. Clippers
Yep.
too.
I have the Clippers here at number 2. I think to go off what Ryan said, you lose the 6th man of the year, but you also lose that kind of edgy attitude that got you into a lot of foul trouble last year. Ibaka is going to bring you like that Toronto nature, the championship stuff, like the stuff that they literally got Kawhi together. Like that's why Kawhi wants more of a mature guy. He doesn't think that, obviously he probably values the energy of Montrezl Harrell. But if you think about the realistics, like that's not the type of person Kawhi talks to. He talks to guys quiet. He talks to guys like Ibaka.
Serge knows what he's doing. He's a nice.
And you know what I also want to make a note of is chemistry-wise is like last year, Kawhi would never make a joke about anything, especially towards like guys like Beverly or Harrell. And then as soon as Ibaka elbowed him in the mouth, he's like, yeah, we're not talking to him. He's on the trading block. So like that's something that already shows you that he's more comfortable with this team probably than last year's team.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of apologize to PG 13% because I've given a hard time on this show recently in the start of this year because of I was one of those haters that thinks that it was going to correlate, right? You know, the bubble PG to now, but like low key, his percentages have been really high. And I think he does have that chip on the shoulder that Gobert also has as well. But Paul George has that, like, do you forget what he did against Miami way back? Like, I think that he can have that energy type of thing. And it'll help if Kawhi, that part will help Kawhi take a little bit easier of a role. And like I said, I think Serge is a little bit more consistent than Montrez. It's not that consistency like these guys like Nicholas Batum, like I'm not too sold on yet. And they paid a high dollar for Luke Kennard, which I'm not too sold on yet. But I think that Kawhi is kind of, you can see I don't think last year he would have played with a mask on. He would have just took that time off.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
he's out there with the mask right away. So I think he's going to keep them in. He's not going to let them fall because I think he knows how hard any game's going to be. Even 1 versus 8 this year is going to be a challenging thing in the playoffs. So I think Kawhi's going to want to get home court and he's going to want to stay really close to not playing the Lakers till the conference finals.
So
Fuck,
everybody has Lakers number 1 then.
Everybody in the world's got to have Lakers.
All right.
It'll be the most dramatic fall. And before we move on, I will say that my ninth team is like my 9 and 10 is the Rockets and the Warriors. So what do
It's
you
weird
guys
the
have?
Rockets not like none of us had the Rockets.
None of us had the Rockets in there,
Understand.
but like they're almost fall like, but like because I think
Don't know what's happening with Harden.
I think that they're still on the way to losing him, but like,
Mhm.
and even if they keep him, it's still what it is right now. You see the videos of him not passing to a wide open Bradley Beal or John Wall rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still problems. I mean,
I mean,
He
the
is my
videos
favorite
I
player
see
in
of
the
him, he's
league, but he
passing
is
something around at the strip club. Like
yeah.
he's focused on other things. It looks like.
That's funny because as soon as you always think of them as a powerhouse, and I want to know your guys' opinions on the Wizards, which I'm excited for because that's where Westbrook went. But like right now, it's like holy fuck, both of us didn't really, any of us didn't have them in there. But there is a play-in round, and so I think anything can happen. And I heard a lot of good stuff about breakout Christian Wood. Obviously, you guys
Yeah.
probably watching that stuff too. His story is pretty amazing.
Mhm.
All right, want to get to the East?
Let's get on to the East. We're rolling pretty well here.
All right, let's go to the East. Number 8.
My
For number 8, I got this is where I'm putting the old trusty Raptors. I like to give them a spot in there, but I honestly don't know. Right now, they got to just figure it out. But like, if they do go back, like they do still have like Lowry, Van Vliet, Siakam, who I'm personally not a fan of, but like he can bring it in some games. I think he's a little bit too inconsistent to be our like all-star that people keep referring him to. But Van Vliet may have a breakout season. Who knows that more than he already has, of course. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And like the no fans, they have a lot of different dynamics that no NBA team has ever had really this year. It's going to be hard for them, but hopefully.
At the 8 seed, it was a toss-up for the Hawks and Magic for me, but I'm going with the Hawks. The Hawks look solid this year. Perfect mix of young and old. Trey looks good. Clint Capella's solid. Like I like the Hawks, but I only got them at 8.
I'm with Ryan on that one. I have the Atlanta Hawks squeaking into that guaranteed, but it's not guaranteed in terms of my like really what's really going to happen. But with my standings, they're at 8 guaranteed. Obviously, Rondo's huge for late game heroics, and like I said, he's got that Chris Paul aspect. He actually can kind of player coach while he's doing that. And what are you going to do if Trae Young goes off and beats Trae Young? And then all of a sudden you have a pick and roll option with Clint Capella, and then don't forget about John Collins, who can do almost everything. With great energy. I think that they might surprise, but 8's pretty guaranteed.
Bogdanovic was a huge pickup too in the offseason.
Oh my! You can't. I think. What's the other guy from OKC? Spot up shooter. Gallinari.
Yeah, they got him too.
That's amazing. That's huge. That's huge. I think I don't want to go on about it, but I think the Hawks do, and I love their rebranding too. It's really exciting.
All right, number 7.
Number 7. This is where I'm throwing the Wizards. I think that they honestly have the chance, I'm also an old-time Wizards fan, but yeah, I don't know. Bradley Beal's a scorer. He doesn't win games when he scores a lot of points, it seems. So if they figure out that aspect, but Russell Westbrook and him, that makes 2 all-NBA players. They definitely could be interesting to see if they gel together nice and if they start flowing.
My 7 seeds, this is where I put the Raps. I initially had the Raps at 2, but yeah, after falling, what are we, 1 and 6? Yeah, I think there's still time to turn it around. But yeah, there's just such an Achilles heel with the Raps playing in Tampa.
Very good.
Where every game is an away game, but yeah, Raps 7.
I like Ryan so far on his Eastern predictions. I also have the Raptors at 7. I like how we're all giving them a second chance here. It's not that a second chance is the word even because it's 7 games in, but it's the word that we've been using. It's the repetition. Like they've been in the playoffs before. Like last year, they were the second best record overall with the similar roster. I think that although it's a slow start, I think this is going to be motivation for them with the no fans and the hard circumstances. I think it might turn into something. It might start tonight. It's the Sacramento Kings. It just needs a little bit to start the ball rolling. And all of a sudden, I just think you got to get your key guys playing well. Like Matt Thomas has to be shooting the ball with confidence. And I can't bet against them. I just can't do it.
Well, I'd like the Raps to be number 1, but apparently they suck. All right, number 6.
This is where I have the Hawks, just because Trae Young is getting more and more exciting. And as you said, they have like John Collins, which is an excitement factor. Their defense is a little bit lacking, some may say, but they do have like strong shown scoring abilities from their new signings. As you said, with like
I got the Heat at 6. They're 3-4 so far. They don't look like that same team that went to the finals last year. They lost Jay Crowder and replaced him with Avery Bradley. Similar players, not the same, but I don't know. The Heat don't look the same to me. Heat 6.
They look
Wow.
tired.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll keep the conversation going. I have the Heat there as well. I think
we're gonna have the same.
it's a float. Yeah, and I want to mention that Jimmy Butler literally did, like, remember when they lost, he promised them a ring the next year. Like, it's not that I don't think that the regular seeding is going to matter to him like it did last year, but he'll turn a switch. It's not that it's his team to turn a switch, but it's like you can't, the shooting magic doesn't just leave Tyler Hero. It doesn't just leave Duncan Robinson, and Bam is still being Bam right now. And Jimmy Butler is going to be the same. And he's that tier 2 player coach. People want to hear his opinion on the, I was going to say on the ice. People want to hear his opinion on the court. Jimmy Butler is people want to play for him. I just don't think for a lot of teams right now that their position right now is going to be a reflection of where they're going to end up. So I do have them at 6.
They got the best uniforms in the league, though, eh?
Those are so nice with the court too.
I love them. People hate them, but I think they look nice. All right, number 5.
I have the 76ers here. I think that take that one, eh? I don't know. I think that Ben Simmons is just going to continue to fit in. Him and Joel Embiid have like a kind of unorthodox dynamic duo going on. Like they don't really have a shooting out of either of them, but like they get inside and they can play a different style of basketball, get creative with it. They could end up not bad underneath the helms. I don't know. I could see it going number 5. I'm putting them there.
Number 5.
5, I got the Indiana Pacers. They look good so far. Malcolm Brogdon's playing good. Sabonis is playing like an all-star again. Oladipo's playing all right. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about him, but yeah, no. Indiana 5.
I think I have the Pacers at number 5 here for the exact same reason as Ryan, and for the exact same reason as I had like the Jazz and the Denver Nuggets in their similar situation. This is just where the Pacers seem to end up. And I don't think that they're getting worse right now. They're young and they're already in a good position. They're 6-2, but think about Sabonis is only growing into himself. Victor Oladipo has so much to prove still. He's coming off of injuries, and Malcolm Brogdon doesn't get talked enough as much as well. And I think they have Cassius Stanley, do they not?
Who?
Do you know that they have Cassius Stanley?
I have no idea who that is.
Okay, I think I'll send you a picture after. He's like the super young, bouncy player, Cassius Stanley. They might have him. Might have been from Duke. He's exciting to watch. Regardless, I'm gonna look at him right now, but I have the Pacers. I'm right along with Ryan's list so far.
All right, number was that? That was 5?
That was 5.
All right, number 4.
Number 4, I got Celtics. I think that they just are bringing the same team. They're pretty strong. They got their young guys who are getting older now, like Jason Tatum, fucking Brown. They can all bring a pretty competitive edge to the game, and we'll see how they do.
4, I got the Brooklyn Nets. They are my pick to come out of the Eastern Conference, but I don't think that they'll finish at top of the Eastern Conference just for the fact that the 3 teams ahead of them have all been together for so much longer than this Nets team has. Durant right now is out for 4 games due to COVID protocol.
Didn't Irving just like disappear too?
Yeah, they just got the notification.
He didn't play last night, but like kudos to them. They beat the Sixers without KD and Kyrie. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but Nets at 4.
Yeah. So this is where me and Ryan's list officially divorces in my marriage with Meisner's opinion. I do have the Celtics here. I don't think that this is where I don't think that the Celtics reflection of their regular seeding will dictate their playoff distance. I do think they can go deep, and I think that they are forming into themselves, and Jaylen Brown has something to prove. But that young guy, Pritchard, I don't know if his first name.
Yeah, he's kind of there.
He's kind of icy right now, and I love benches and players love that shit. They love like young guys doing, and you can see it brings the chemistry up.
Especially other young guys seeing other young guys.
It irks me to say anything positive about the Celtics, but you can't put them in a different situation right now. So they're at 4.
All right, number 3.
This is where I have the Heat. I honestly like their scoring abilities that they showed, and Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson are still just fitting into the NBA. They still got a couple more years left for sure, but Bam, he even said he wants to prove that he's just like a different creature.
Yeah.
He is an athletic monster. They had a good run in the bubble that they showed that they could compete very high level. And Tyler Hero, I don't know. I think he's just cold. He just has a different attitude. He's going to try and continue to prove himself every single year.
3 seed, I got the Boston Celtics here. Similar team to last year. I think their only new addition was Tristan Thompson, and then their rookie Richards. But they don't look as hot as the Sixers do to start off the year. But they got a good coach. It's the Celtics. They'll finish at 3.
Yeah, I got the Sixers at 3. So they have a hot start. I just think that the top 3 East teams are going to be like that, and it might come down to very little games, to be honest. But I don't think that they have that power to be the top 2 yet, but they'll be at 3.
Number 2.
This is where I have the Nets. I think that they're not flowing as of yet, and I don't know. Well, this might be a little bit high for the end of the season rating, but I don't know if they get it going. They do have like Kyrie and Durant. Like, you can't count that out. They have 2 of the most like just clutch and just dynamic scoring duos that you've probably seen. I don't know. It's going to be exciting. They also have like great backup players on top of that. Should be a good team.
2, I got the 76ers. I think the 76ers had all the right tools and players, and I think Doc Rivers was that final piece. And it's just their 7-2 record is just a testimony to how great of a coach Doc Rivers is. Who else did they have? They had Dwight Howard, Seth Curry, Danny Green. I'm impressed with this 76ers team, and I think they'll.
Tyrese Maxey's playing too well.
So yeah.
For me, at number 2, this is where I have the Nets with Meisner. I think that I know you guys we're going to talk about it when it gets brought up, but the loss, I mean, we would have had them maybe at 1, but the loss of Dinwiddie coming off the bench is actually more significant than some people may think. Even like Steve Nash himself admits that Dinwiddie is like probably one of the most athletic players on the whole team in terms of what he can do on the defensive end. He's so smart. He's almost like the leader. I say bench mob just because the Raptors is the name of it, but he's probably the leader of the bench. And even then, he can filter into that 5th man if someone was hurt. Like this KD Kyrie situation, one can take the night off and they can still slap a team, and then the other can take a night off and they can still slap a team. And they both just didn't play, and you still saw what they did. Joe Harris, Karis LeVert, I don't know what to say against them. Not only do they have the superstars, these young guys are going to break out themselves.
Joe Harris is cold too. He's like a little unknown sniper.
He's got that shaggy white. He's like that shaggy hair going. That's like very fraternity boy, white boy.
You find him at your local court and you underestimate him, and he just wins on you. So we got one more left now.
Well, you all got the Bucks at 1 then.
Yeah,
we can agree.
Yeah,
very original.
I still think that they could fall out of it. I don't think that it's a guaranteed thing either. I think that the Nets, if they do something magical, it might be a cakewalk. If like, think about it. I think that the Bucks live and die by Giannis every night.
Yeah.
I think that, if his character gets into question off the court and he starts having a couple games, not that he has bad character off the court, it's just that I think his speculation is the whole, like, everything about Giannis is the Bucks. And I think that players on the team are really like scared to go touch the ball without it going through his fans first. So it's not that it doesn't like
now too. You have to take in if he catches it, that's probably the most like the team that they lose that player, all of a sudden they're like out of the top.
They're not. I think that they live and die by the sword if the sword's Giannis. Yeah. And but at the same time, they also, I think he was visibly upset that they didn't get Bogdanović too, right? When that deal fell through, that they were going to try to get him and they actually got tampered with it, and he was like, that was actually one of the things that I was looking forward to. But Josh, why'd you shake your head?
Because that whole situation was just hilarious.
Yeah, that was a fuck situation. I just think that he got like subpar fillers of those holes, and those holes like, and I think I want to also mention that I think it's almost a joke to the Bucks that the teams in the NBA don't play the defense that they play against them until the playoffs, and they could choose that, but they just start clogging up the middle, and all of a sudden you're playing that little tight zone underneath the net. But you just let them think that they're good throughout the regular season. Why would you show them the game plan? So I think that we've seen it. That's why they don't get far, because they get undermined by their only option, right?
Yeah. All right, before we get into the fun stuff, who's the worst team? Who's finishing last? This is what I'm throwing in there.
League overall?
Yeah.
Pistons.
Brian, I'll let you take that one off. Yeah, Pistons.
Yeah, I mean, what do you have to look forward to if you're a Pistons fan? Like,
Yeah, you're
they
playing
got
in Detroit.
LiAngelo Ball. Like I
I'll
saw
say I have the Pistons there as well.
picked up LiAngelo Ball just for clout.
Yeah, that was a tough look.
Yeah, I feel bad in a sense because we all thought that Derrick Rose was going to get out of there and that he would find himself on like the Lakers. I mean, personally, right? That would be amazing. But that's what their thing is. They actually, they play through Derrick Rose, so I don't think they're going to let go of him. You have like these. It's just kind of like, why did Grant go there? He went there for the money. Probably it's an easy option for him to grow his game with a good, amount of money in his pocket. But it's just like you can't expect anything from a team where they're in an obvious rebuild, but they have these pieces that make you think they want to win games.
It also is really sad to almost watch Blake Griffin's career die there. Like he was such an exciting.
You kind of
all-star.
flustered out.
I forgot he played there until you brought it up.
Yeah, like everyone forgets about Blake Griffin.
Jeez. All right, I'm going to do these in reverse because I don't like the order they're in on this. So, surprise team, the team that's going to surprise us the most.
For me, honestly, just because where I put them in my list and like I do, like it was a tough decision to put them so low, but the 76ers I think could be just a great surprise. And my number 5 seed could be an absolute stretch, but they could end up right in the very top of their conference. Doc Rivers pretty massive to them, but I don't know. I think that their unorthodox duo might be surprising, or it might just be 2-ball in a 3-ball game.
I think surprising team might be the New York Knicks. It's weird that none of us said that they were the worst team in the NBA because they're off to a 5-3 record. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs or even come close to it, but I just think they're going to surprise everyone and not be as shit as they are year in, year out.
Who's that guy? I forgot his name right now, but the guy who's like literally leading the league and like he was in points, Randall.
Randall had a great year.
Yeah, he's going pretty off right now. But
I think in terms of surprising, like where I had them might not show that they're going to surprise, but in terms of like they could do better than this, I think the Hawks might surprise people. Maybe with like one win in the playoffs. That's about what I can, you know what I mean? Maybe not like they make second or third place, but they might squeak by 7th. And what if they play the Celtics in a game, or the Nets? I don't even know. They might squeeze out. I think they can surprise maybe 2 wins in the playoffs. Like, Rondo won't let them go down without a fight.
Yeah, no.
All right, most improved player. Who's the player that's going to improve the most from last season?
I have Christian Wood here, just because that story is just sick. He has a pretty nasty story. He is popping off. We'll see what he continues with throughout the season, but I always like that little story that goes along with it. I think it's a good choice.
I got Christian Wood too. He's going from 13 points per game to 23 points per game. This, like, he'll take that starting spot over DeMarcus Cousins too. Yeah, and like love that story. With the
why would I sway from the Christian Wood love? Because we've all seen the picture, buddy. Like, I don't know what the situation was, but he was undrafted and some shit happened. He broke up with his girlfriend on draft night. Like, not only is that outside of motivation to help you, but like for us on the outside looking in, you can see, if you get given this opportunity, he just got paid. Like, it's nothing. I think it's a cakewalk over DeMarcus Cousins in terms of ability over that starting role. But that has nothing to do with the fact that he's got that locked up.
All right, rookie of the year, new player of the year.
I'm going with Wiseman. He honestly looks pretty gross, and Curry's a good little addition to try to like feed Wiseman, get to his play, get his alley-oops rolling. He's a pretty good player, honestly, out of the draft. I don't really like LaMelo thus far, but obviously he's going to prove everybody wrong, probably. But I don't know. I have Wiseman there.
I got LaMelo as my rookie of the year, just for the sole fact that like he has a good game or a bad game, the media is gonna regardless show him. He gets so much attention from Bleacher Report, all these big basketball accounts, and he's a flashy player. I think he's gonna be a fan favorite, but Wiseman's also a good choice. That was my number 2.
This is tough. I want to say something before I give my pick because I know how Markelle Fultz went down, and that's a big part of the magic. I do really like Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, and what he brings to the table. I don't know if his playing time is going to go up, and I don't know if it's going to be a matter of how they pick the teams, because you almost want to say Anthony Edwards just went off for like 27 last night, and that guy can do some crazy shit. He's athletic, and people thought that he wasn't going to care. And I want people to realize that he was the first overall pick, but like, how can you go against what only gets covered? And in these days, Giannis gets back-to-back. It's kind of like predictable. Like, you think about it, he'll have 10 points. He'll have maybe 5 assists, 20 minutes played, but LaMelo Ball is going to get the Rookie of the Year.
Okay, most valuable player of the year.
I'm rolling with Giannis. Give it to him again. I think he's going to if he stays healthy, and it's just, who else can beat out somebody who's carrying an entire roster pretty much and just dominating the NBA? He's like dominant. That's what I'd give him, is just dominance.
I got Kevin Durant. Sole reason not Giannis. I think there's just voter fatigue when it comes to voting a guy 3 years in a row. I don't think the Bucks are going to have as good of a record as they did these 2 previous seasons. But I think Durant's the perfect narrative for MVP. He comes back after being off 18 months. And he leads this Nets team out of the East.
Hopefully he's just not seen as the villain still. Maybe
I don't think people
view
him as the villain anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. I want to be, not that it's original by any means, but I want to be different from you two. And I think that Luka Doncic can get the MVP. Obviously, like I said, and like you guys said, Giannis, it's easy to say that he'll get it because of the narrative that's already been associated around kind of like why the Bucks always have success is because of Giannis, and he's had these literal monster number breaking numbers.
Yeah, literally.
But for me, Luka Doncic, what he brings to the fanatic of the face of the league, they might try to squeak him in there, and I'm not to think that I'm not trying to undermine the fact that it's it's a real thing that's really. I don't think that they're going to do 3 times in a row for Giannis. I just think that it might ruin the integrity of the voting system.
Too.
And in terms of viewership, like, there's been a lot said underneath, all of how the voting's done. People think LeBron, but I think Luka Doncic, just because of where the NBA might want to gear themselves for the next couple of years.
Right. And last one, your finals matchup, and give me a winner too.
Here I got the Lakers and Nets. I think that by that time in the season, the Nets should be clicking, and they're going to knock the Bucks out if the Bucks get knocked without them having to do with it. But I think it's going to be a good matchup, and honestly, I'm going to give it to the Nets here. I think that if they just go out, give them a little bit of an underdog chance here, and take my word for that. If it happens out, I want $10 each.
Yeah, I'll second that. I got Lakers Nets, except I got Lakers coming out on top. The Lakers were the best team last year, and they only got better. Like, Marc Gasol, Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, Wesley Matthews. It's LeBron. Like, it's LeBron going for his 5th ring. I think they'll go back to back.
I'm gonna be stupid. I'm gonna be really stupid. I want back that the Clippers are gonna get in, just because of the sole fact that it is easy to say that the Lakers are gonna do what they're gonna do, but who knows? Maybe in terms of new chemistry, like they had the team chemistry, but you add a bunch of new guys. Who knows? That the talent will take you there, but in the locker room, it's a new situation. And for the Clippers, I think that they're just trending in a situation where it's either do or that. I just think I'd like to see that. I don't really even know if the Nets are going to do it, but right now it's easy to say the Nets are going to be there. So I would have the Clippers winning it all.
I like
It'd be
that.
interesting to see the Clippers win it, just to see Steve Ballmer at the parade.
I just think that it's literally, you'll see the Clippers either do something this year, or it could be Paul George's team, because Kawhi's gone, and then that's it for them.
Yeah.
You see Kawhi coming back to the Raps? I mean, as a Raps fan, you can only pray, but
you hope so. I just think that he does these things so smart. He doesn't sign these contracts if he wasn't going to actually try to leave.
Yeah, he has a lot of behind the scenes going on, I think, on like what his play will be.
That'll factor into him possibly leaving too, that whole investigation going into Jerry West. And I forget the guy's name, but
yeah, I know. And it's not even, and it's been going on too. I think that it's still some news that's going to break that'll show that it probably was very tampering. Like, there are some proof. Like, Jerry West played, like, he's the logo, and Jerry West played for the Lakers, and he was caught on video saying like the shit show Lakers. So like, it was an ugly situation in terms of getting Kawhi to the team. And I don't know if the narrative wants to be that, I think Kawhi can get out of a bad situation just by simply asking for it. So, like I said, he's playing this year with the mask on. He wouldn't be doing that in other years. He's very self-conscious, and he played his first back-to-back in since he got injured back in San Antonio 2 years ago, the other week. And so I just think that that's a sign of what he's trying to do right now to show. And more importantly, I think if he goes crazy this year, it's going to show other teams why he's the reason that they can pick him up and they can win a championship, even if it was with the Clippers. So I don't know. Obviously, LeBron's going to not have something to say about that. But
yeah. Well, this was fun. Thanks for coming on, boys.
That was good talking with you guys.
No problem.
That was good length. I appreciate you boys coming on. I could sit here and we could talk for hours. I think I want to get one more thing out of you as local basketball fans is I want to say 3 things, but give me 2 things that the Raptors need to do to get into the playoffs. Meisner.
My number one, I want to see OG kind of have his little Kawhi offensive breakout, kind of figure out his offensive dynamics, get his confidence up. He could be a good player. He's an exciting player that we have. I think just with time, they got to figure out their systems, how they're going to continue to play against the growing competitiveness in the league and just stay on top of themselves. And number 3, Boucher's got to step up. I would love to see the guy just pull some big moves, become some sort of star. That'd be pretty neat to see. He's got a form. He's got kind of that Kevin Durant-esque long form.
Yeah.
All right, 3 things.
You can give me 2. Meisner gave me 3.
All right. Number 1, we need to get Baines the fuck off our team. He's just not it. He doesn't have a recorded block in all this since the season started.
And he went back-to-back 0 points the other night, I swear.
Yeah. If you watch him on the court, he's actually lost. He's just kind of out there. He's in Australia still.
Baines is not it. And our backup after him is Alex Len. I like Chris Boucher, but you can't play him against guys like Joel Embiid or DeAndre Ayton, these big body centers. Number 2, we got to figure out who's taking the final shot between Lowry, VanVleet, and Siakam. They always just look like not even the final shot, but that big shot that gets your team back into it. We got to figure out who that guy is between those 3.
Yeah, I like that. For me personally, a couple of things that the Raptors need to do is it's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to be a big trade. I think that it's literally as big as getting a new center, getting one of those small pieces you see out there every year. It's not that huge asset, but it has to be changed quickly. I don't know if it would be a deal for center. I think Baines, they want to try to believe in Baines just because he's one of the toughest out there. And I think that he'll be really offended if he gets traded this quickly, and he'll probably end up showing the Raptors that it was a bad idea. I just think he needs a little bit more time. I do think that it should be, in terms of your question, who should get that big shot, I think it should be easily to Fred. Fred's got more accurate shot. He's the more accurate handler. And in terms of deferring, Lowry's trying to bring VanVleet into his position. He's trying to show him who to be. And he can only do that while he's here, right? And Lowry's only retiring sooner. So I think he's going to defer the ball to him. And in terms of Siakam, I think he does his work early in the game.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Let me ask you.
It's embarrassing right now for Raptors fans in terms of we can't help it. We can't help them. You know what I mean? We can't do anything in terms of our voice. They're not in Canada. They're in Tampa. And, I want them to know that I think that they can find the motivation within that being such a literally one-sided situation, that they can find motivation in that. But Josh, send us away. I want to thank you boys personally. First of all, I know we had a situation where we couldn't get everyone that we wanted, but if something happens and we can do some fun NBA episodes, I'd love for you guys to come back on because I had a great
time.
And
that's fun.
If you guys are listening, go follow Ryan Holmes and Derek Meisner on Instagram, wherever they want you to follow them. And, we'll be back very soon, Orion, with another episode. Thank you.
No problem. Peace. Thank you, Orion lads.
Yeah, peace, boys.